I'm waiting to cross the river into the United States. Is this illegal? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Well, the sign says four-wheel drive or high clearance vehicles only. Well, we're not four-wheel drive, but we are high clearance. And the guy back at the ranger station said, what kind of vehicle you have? And I said, a ProMaster. He kind of said, okay, what the heck. Anyway, I know I'm okay. So, it's about 12 miles back to my camp for the night, or for the next few nights. Back in a remote section of the Big Bend National Park, a place where very few of the visitors ever come to. Which kind of highlights my love-hate relationship with the national park. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, in the main, I love the national park system. I think it's probably one of America's greatest assets. So this is more of a lament than it is a rant. It's only a lament in the fact that, you know, it's what happens when you get to be a geezer or old enough to remember back on long ago, bygone days, and how things once were, and they are no more. So you kind of harken back on those days thinking, hey, that was really good. And nowadays it just really sucks. But you know, things will change. You know, conditions change, all kinds of things change. You know, so we adapt to change. But anyway, when I was a lad, I got introduced to the parks service back in the late 50s, early 60s. And it was a big, different world back then. The population of the U.S. wasn't that big. The number of people who were camping or, you know, going out to the quote-unquote wild weren't that many. And so there was a lot more, I don't know, kind of feeling of a freedom or relaxed environment. You know, and we spent a lot of time in the national parks because of the fact that my father didn't make enough money to afford to go to resorts, things like that. So we spent our vacations, you know, in the mountains, Virginia, North Carolina, along the Blue Ridge Parkway and other places, camping. And so that's how I grew up, you know. In the summertime, we'd go out for 3 weeks to a month. And camp, go to ranger talks, you know, ranger guided walks, big campfires, collect blueberries and make blueberry pancakes. That was an idyllic life for a young lad. You know, I'd climb on rocks, spend hours playing mumbly peg, and basically just a real chill environment. But in 1960, the number of people who visited the parks that year was, you know, roughly about 72 million. And in I think last year, Big Bend, where most of the people, the activities are in that small area in the center of the park where the mountains are, and the areas like where I'm heading out right now for the next few days is rarely visited. So, and when you have that many people in a confined spot, it just requires a lot more, control, maintenance, things like that, regulations, and so, which generally isn't my cup of tea. So I prefer to spend my days in the American outback boondocking versus going to highly regulated national parks. The fact that Big Bend has this whole area of the park, the area that I'm in right now, which is essentially along the Rio Grande border, is pretty unique because it's essentially the national park's version of boondocking. They are designated campsites all along this stretch of road that go from here all the way to the other end of the park. Campgrounds every so many miles. And campground's kind of a loose definition. It's essentially a location where you can camp. There are no facilities there, no picnic tables, restrooms, or anything else. It's just basically a designated site you can camp, and that's it. But that also raises another conundrum. That is the fact that in order to access those rarefied boondocking sites, you have to have specialized equipment, such as this van, which means that that experience is not available to a wide variety of the people who are park visitors. So again, you've got one restriction and or another. I am fortunate that I'm in a position that I can come back here, see the area, gaze upon the beauty, sit by a meandering river, but a lot of people can't afford that opportunity, and that's kind of sad. Anyway, as I said, this is kind of a lament. Not much I can do about it. And I don't blame the Park Service for it because, they are between a rock and a hard place. Unless we're going to start designating a whole lot more federal land and national parks, I can't see it. And as it is right now, many of the National Park Service, national parks are being, closed, not closed, but severely restricted. The number of visitors, requiring reservations and all kinds of stuff just to visit. Modern times. In case you're wondering, no, my wading across the Rio Grande into the U.S. is not illegal. People familiar with Big Bend National Park are aware of a relatively little-known border crossing into Mexico. About a half-mile south of the river is the small Mexican community of Boquillas, which is Spanish for nozzles. The Park Service manages the crossing, allowing for visitors to cross the border, wander the half a mile or so into town for a few hours before returning home. I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity to make a brief visit to a foreign country. Port of entry. So that little building right there is how you exit the United States to go into Mexico. A little beautifully lined road takes you down to the river. Now, I didn't bring right shoe wear for walking across, so I think I'll just spend the $5 to take a boat across. It's $5 2 ways. I think I can afford that. And then it's like a 3/4 of a mile hike into the town. I need the exercise, so a mile and a half will not hurt me. And there's a couple of restaurants that I just ate, but you know, maybe I'll eat again and I'll have dinner. Anyway, so this is the crossing. I don't know, that guy looks like fun.
Te van a mandar un mandado, ¿verdad? Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to Mexico.
Thank you. Well, I'm officially in Mexico. So, if only for a couple of hours. But that's all part of the adventure. There's a town, such as it is. I could pronounce the name if I had to. Doesn't look like it has cell, so you know I didn't bring my phone. Oh well. This is the town. Gracias now. No thanks. Restaurante.
Yeah, so we've been to, I will admit to been to.
Well, no thank you. Gracias. No. They started young. Anyway. There's not much to the town. I think that bar's closed. Well, Gillis, Del Carmen.
Y'all can take some of the lettuce tomato.
You would think that having somewhat numb feet would be a benefit, but yeah, not really. Anyway. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I would recommend doing this in sandals, of which I have a couple pair back in the van. Ah, ow. That doesn't feel good. Ah. Ah. But my shoes are dry. I've crossed out of Mexico back in the United States, at least for a couple more weeks.